Now that you found us, subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the bell. No need to miss out on any upcoming episodes.
Absolutely do not miss out.
Welcome, everyone, to today's deep dive. We're just incredibly glad you are here with us today.
Yeah, really glad.
Because this specific video, it's completely tailor-made for all of you who consider yourselves fans of Dr. Alex Wissner-Gross.
And particularly those of you who track his brilliant contributions over on Peter Diamandis' YouTube series, Moonshots.
You know who you are. And we love analyzing these massive shifts right alongside you.
It's the best part of doing this.
It really is. So today we are bringing you episode 20 of our ongoing series, where we cover Dr. Wissner-Gross's phenomenal Substack, The Innermost Loop.
A very heavy episode today.
Definitely. The title of today's deep dive is exactly as it reads in the dispatch. GPT 5.4 Pro, the day mathematics was cooked.
Cooked. I mean, it's a heavy title, but looking at the data we're about to go through, it's honestly not an exaggeration.
Not at all.
For our orientation today, the source material we are examining is a high-velocity intelligence dispatch from Dr. Alex Wissner-Gross, published on March 6, 2026.
Right.
Think of our mission today as examining a very specific, incredibly dense snapshot in time. We are looking at a single 24-hour period where the concept of the singularity officially stops being some abstract philosophical thought experiment.
We aren't really debating timelines anymore, are we?
No, we're past that.
Yeah.
In this dispatch, the singularity is actively and demonstrably solving our hardest logical and mathematical problems.
Yeah.
It's rewriting the entire workflow of Hollywood. It is physically draining global energy grids to the point of triggering major hardware shortages.
Which is wild.
Or perhaps most soberingly, it's becoming a literal theater of kinetic war.
Man, that is the part that really shifts this from a standard tech update to an absolute geopolitical earthquake.
For sure.
Okay, let's unpack this because the sheer scale of the breakthroughs detailed over this single 24-hour period is a lot to process.
It's a fire hose.
Yeah, so let's take it piece by piece. We're witnessing a true capabilities explosion here. The dispatch starts right at the top with the arrival of OpenAI's newest models, GPT 5.4 Thinking and GPT 5.4 Pro.
Right out of the gate.
And we need to be clear up front for you listening. We aren't just looking at a slightly better conversational bot that you know writes cleaner emails for you.
No, not at all.
The fundamental specs on these models represent a completely different paradigm. We are looking at native state-of-the-art computer use.
Yes.
And I want to pause on that phrase, native computer use, because it gets thrown around a lot in tech circles. We aren't talking about an API calling another API behind the scenes.
Exactly.
We're talking about a model that can literally look at a screen, move a cursor, open folders, click drop-down menus, and operate a graphical user interface exactly the way a human operator would.
Which is huge. And add to that a massive 1 million token context window.
Right.
Meaning it can hold entire libraries of code, full encyclopedias of context in its active working memory at any given second.
At the exact same time.
Yeah, that native computer use fundamentally changes the surface area of what AI can actually interact with.
Oh, so?
Well, if a piece of software doesn't have a clean, developer-friendly API, it used to be essentially invisible to an AI.
Oh, right. It couldn't talk to it.
Exactly. But now, if a human can click it, GPT 5.4 Pro can click it.
Wow.
But the numbers that really illustrate the gravity of this shift are the benchmark scores, specifically the 83.0% GDPval score.
I saw that in the dispatch. That metric is crucial for anyone trying to understand the economic reality we are stepping into.
Yes, because GDPval isn't testing whether the AI can write a coherent sonnet or, pass a standardized multiple choice test.
Right.
It evaluates pure economic utility. A score of 83.0% essentially means that this model matches or outright exceeds the performance of human professionals at complex, multi-step knowledge work 83% of the time.
83% of the time. So to put that in perspective for you, if you're a firm hiring for a task that requires analyzing a data set, drafting a report based on that data, formatting it into a presentation, and then cross-referencing it with historical company files.
Which is most office jobs.
Right, tasks that basically define white-collar knowledge work. This system can execute that flawlessly more than 8 times out of 10 entirely on its own.
Precisely. We are talking about the complete commoditization of high-level cognitive labor.
Yeah.
And if you look at how these models are saturating the state-of-the-art, the SOTA benchmarks across the board, the picture becomes even clearer.
Let's hear the numbers.
It hit 57.7% on SWE Bench Pro.
Which is notoriously difficult.
Oh, yeah. For those tracking developer benchmarks, SWE bench is punishing.
Huh.
It doesn't just ask the model to write a snippet of Python.
No, it's way harder than that.
It hands the AI a real-world, highly complex software repository, often with hundreds of thousands of lines of legacy code.
Just a mess of code.
Yeah, and it describes a bug or a feature request and basically tells the AI to fix it. Achieving nearly 60% on the Pro tier means it can autonomously resolve complex, deeply buried software engineering issues better than a massive chunk of human mid-level developers.
And it doesn't stop at coding either. The dispatch notes it hit 67.3% on Web Arena Verified,
Right.
which measures its ability to navigate and execute tasks on the actual messy, unstructured internet.
Not just a sterile lab environment.
Exactly. And it reached 54.6% on Tulathlon, meaning its ability to select and use various digital tools in sequence to solve a problem.
The sequencing is the hard part.
It really is. These are structural realignments of what machines are capable of doing without human handholding. But to make those abstract percentages actually visceral for you, Dr. Wissner-Gross shows a specific mind-bending example in the dispatch.
Oh, the Minecraft thing.
Yes. This GPT 5.4 Pro model built a basically perfect clone of the video game Minecraft.
Which is just staggering.
And it didn't do this over a weekend. It did it in exactly 24 minutes.
I really think we need to linger on the mechanics of that achievement for a moment, because building Minecraft sounds deceptively simple to someone who isn't a game developer.
For sure. They think, oh, it's just blocks.
Right. But Minecraft isn't just a 2D platformer with a few sprites. It's a massive, complex, three-dimensional voxel world.
Yeah.
Building a clone requires writing a rendering engine, establishing complex physics for gravity and fluid dynamics, building a procedural generation algorithm so the world creates itself infinitely as you walk.
And managing the memory efficiently so the whole thing doesn't just crash the moment you spawn 100 blocks.
Exactly. For a human development team, coding a stable voxel engine from scratch with procedural generation is a monumental architectural task. It requires serious planning, debugging, and iterative testing.
Yeah.
And this model was given the prompt. And within the time it takes you to watch it the sitcom on Netflix, it spun up a fully functioning, flawless 3D game.
It's wild.
It's the very first AI to ever pull something like this off. And OpenAI basically just dropped it casually as a demonstration of native computer use. It's an incredible flex of coding capability.
It is a massive flex. But ironically, while building a Minecraft clone in under half an hour is what grabs all the mainstream headlines, the most profound breakthrough in this dispatch.
Yeah.
The one that historians will actually mark as a turning point happened in a much more abstract realm.
What's fascinating here is we are essentially looking at the end of human supremacy in mathematics.
That statement.
But it's true. GPT 5.4 Pro posted a new state-of-the-art score of 38.0% on FrontierMath Tier 4.
Okay, let's unpack Tier 4 for a second, because a lot of people hear AI doing math and they immediately think of a really fast calculator multiplying giant numbers.
Right.
But that's not what FrontierMath is testing, is it?
Not at all. Computation is completely trivial for machines. They've been doing that since the 50s.
Yep.
Tier 4 represents the absolute bleeding edge of unsolved, dense mathematical open problems. We are talking about topology, advanced number theory, algebraic geometry.
The really heavy stuff.
This isn't arithmetic. This is the pure, creative, intuitive frontier of human logic. To solve problems at this level, you can't just brute force your way through billions of combinations.
You have to actually understand it.
You have to make conceptual leaps. You have to invent new ways of looking at structures entirely. And up until this very moment, that intuitive leap was considered the exclusive domain of the human mind.
The reaction from the mathematical community is what really anchors the magnitude of this for me. Dr. Wissner-Gross highlights the specific reaction of a mathematician named Bartosz Neskreki.
Yes.
It was his specific Tier 4 problem that was solved by an AI for the very first time. His description of watching the machine solve it is just fascinating. He called it his personal move 37.
Which is such a beautiful historical parallel.
Can you explain that for the listener?
Yeah, so move 37 refers to the legendary 2016 match between Google's AlphaGo and the human Go champion Lee Sedol.
Right, the documentary on that was amazing.
It was. So in Game 2, the AI played a move 77, that looked like a complete mistake to every human expert watching.
They thought it glitched.
They literally did. It defied centuries of established Go strategy. But as the game unfolded, it became clear that the move was perfectly calculated, operating on a level of strategic foresight that human players hadn't even conceptualized.
Wow.
It completely shattered our understanding of machine creativity.
And Nasgurki is saying he just experienced that exact same paradigm shift, but in pure mathematics.
Right, in his own field.
He said this AI's solution to his open problem was clean. It felt almost human in its elegance, and he actually declared that his own personal singularity had arrived.
Yeah.
He described life as being on the other side off to infinity.
It's poetry.
But that's such a heavy realization, though, isn't it? It's basically an admission of obsolescence from someone at the absolute peak of human intellectual achievement.
It is a profound realization of obsolescence, yes.
Yeah.
But if you look closely at the math community's reaction, there's also a sense of liberation in there.
How so?
Well, Epoch AI corroborated this shift in a report detailed in the dispatch.
Yeah.
They noted that the model isn't just solving existing problems. It's actively making novel observations on FrontierMath's open problems benchmark.
So it's generating new math.
Literally generating entirely new mathematical insights that humans haven't even thought of. When Dr. Wissner-Gross states plainly in the dispatch, mathematics is cooked, he is capturing the exact moment a deeply human endeavor is permanently handed over to a superior intelligence.
So we have to ask, what does this actually mean for you, the listener, living in a world where math is cooked?
Right.
Math is the foundational language of the universe. It dictates physics, which dictates engineering, which dictates computer science, materials, science, and economics.
Everything downstream.
Exactly. If an AI is now natively better at discovering new mathematical truth than the greatest human minds, every single discipline downstream of math is about to experience a shockwave.
A massive one.
We've essentially outsourced the foundational engine of human discovery. You can completely understand the reaction from a Substack user named Hychiatriki, who left a comment on the dispatch saying he was simply blown away by GPT 5.4.
I mean, that's really the only rational response to realizing the absolute ceiling of human intellect has just been blown wide open.
Blown completely open.
It forces a total recalibration of our self-worth as a species. If we aren't the universe's premier engines of logic and discovery anymore, what exactly is our role?
That is the existential question.
But what's fascinating is that as this intellectual earthquake shakes the academic and scientific communities, we're simultaneously seeing massive, immediate shockwaves tearing through the cultural and creative sector.
Right, the creative stack.
Wissner-Gross calls it exactly that, the creative stack, and it's actively negotiating terms with these new minds right now. And if you look at the different industries, they're adopting radically different philosophies of survival.
Let's dive into that cultural impact, starting with Hollywood, because the workflow of creating film and television is being entirely rewritten as we speak.
Yes, it is.
The dispatch details that Netflix has officially acquired a company called Interpositive. Now, Interpositive is an AI filmmaking startup founded by Ben Affleck.
Which is an interesting crossover right there.
Definitely. And the mechanics of what this startup actually does are wild. It trains AI models directly on a film production's dailies.
The raw footage.
Right. The raw, unedited footage shot on set that specific day. The AI then automatically handles the audio, mixing the color, grading the virtual relighting of the scenes, and even the visual effects, all in post-production.
Which essentially automates the entire army of highly skilled technicians that usually spend months, sometimes years, polishing a film.
Exactly. But why is the film industry so eager to adopt this? You'd think an industry built on powerful creative unions would fight this tooth and nail.
Well, they fight the threat to writers and actors, sure, but post-production is treated differently. This raises a really interesting philosophical question about the nature of the medium itself.
Okay.
Film has always been an illusion. From the very beginning, it relies on lighting tricks, makeup editing cuts, and CGI to create a suspended reality for the viewer.
Right, none of it is actually real.
Exactly. So for the studios, AI is simply the ultimate illusion-generating tool. The industry is absorbing the machine wholesale.
It makes sense economically.
It cuts massive amounts of time and astronomical costs, which is exactly why a streaming giant like Netflix is eager to swallow a startup like Interpositive. They are fully integrating this synthetic into their core workflow because the end product is by definition synthetic anyway.
That makes total sense for a visual medium built on suspension of disbelief. But if we look at the music industry, the dispatch highlights a fierce, almost existential pushback.
The complete opposite reaction.
Yeah, while Netflix is buying up AI post-production to make things seamlessly synthetic, Apple Music is moving in the exact opposite direction. they are launching what they call transparency tags.
Right.
These tags force record labels to explicitly specify whether a track's artwork, its musical composition, or its music video involved any AI generation whatsoever.
It's essentially a mandated digital watermark for human authenticity. The synthesis of these two events perfectly illustrates the cultural divergence of the singularity.
How do you mean?
You have one massive entertainment industry film looking at this technology and asking, how quickly can we absorb this to maximize the efficiency and lower overhead?
Right.
And you have another industry music looking at the exact same algorithmic capability and demanding a name tag.
But did you really think consumers actually care about authenticity tags, or is this just the music industry desperately trying to protect its traditional gatekeeping model?
I mean, it's likely a mix of both, but there's a core truth to the music industry's panic here. Music is built heavily on the perceived emotional authenticity of the artist.
That connection.
Right? The listener bonds with the human singing the song. You want to believe the person singing about a broken heart actually experienced a broken heart.
Yeah, otherwise it feels cheap.
Exactly. So the industry is attempting to build a protective fence around that human element, trying to commodify the absence of AI as a premium feature.
That is fascinating, commodifying the absence of the technology.
For you, the listener, this sets up a fascinating friction point in the media you consume daily. Do you care if a machine perfectly color grades your favorite sci-fi show so the spaceships look cooler?
Probably not.
Right, probably not. But do you care if a machine wrote the lyrics and generated the vocals for a song that makes you cry? That's the boundary line these industries are trying to draw in real time.
It's the difference between automating the craft versus automating the soul.
Perfectly said.
But here's where it gets really interesting. We can talk about software benchmarks and the philosophy of art all day, but AI is not just code floating in some ethereal digital cloud.
You know, it is very physical.
It requires physical hardware, it requires massive amounts of electricity, it requires metal, rare earth minerals, and silicon. And according to this dispatch, the physical substrate of our world is literally buckling under the weight of this intelligence explosion.
It's groaning under the pressure.
We are hitting massive real-world hardware bottlenecks.
The physical reality of the singularity is pure geopolitical compression. Compute, the physical chips that process these AI models, is now arguably the most valuable strategic resource on Earth.
Just look at what's happening at the consumer level. Apple quietly had to pull their 512 gigabyte RAM Mac Studio configuration from the market.
They just erased the option.
They just removed it. Why? Because the global demand for AI compute is so ravenous that a DRAM memory shortage has reached all the way to Cupertino.
Which is saying something.
When the most valuable, ruthless supply chain masters in the corporate world can't source enough RAM for their flagship desktop computers, the physical limits of the planet's supply chains are being severely tested.
And that consumer shortage is just the surface ripple of a much deeper ocean. We're in the middle of a full-blown Silicon Cold War.
Yeah, the dispatch goes into this.
It outlines aggressive draft regulations from Washington that would require American approval for AI chip shipments to literally anywhere on Earth.
Anywhere.
Furthermore, the Commerce Department is proposing that if foreign nations want access to high-end NVIDIA and AMD chips, they must invest directly in America as a condition of that access.
That's a massive flex of state power.
It is.
To be clear, we are looking at these policies purely as objective indicators of the strategic environment. We aren't taking a side on U.S. trade policy here.
Right. We're just reporting the facts of the trade policy as outlined in the dispatch.
Exactly. But the fact that the highest levels of global trade regulation are now entirely centered on the routing of silicon chips shows that governments recognize compute as the ultimate lever of modern global power.
It's the new oil.
It absolutely is the new oil. And just like oil, extracting and refining it requires immense physical infrastructure.
It's not just the chips, it's the sheer staggering amount of power required to run them. We are seeing an absolute infrastructure land grab happening right under our noses.
The dispatch lists some extreme infrastructure moves to highlight this. You have a startup out of Seattle called Cloverleaf Infrastructure, raising $300 million just to sell powered land for data centers.
Powered land.
The land itself isn't what's valuable, it's the guaranteed grid access attached to it. They are selling the rights to plug into the wall.
That's incredible.
And then you have TerraPower. They just received the first ever NRC construction permit for a commercial-scale advanced nuclear plant.
And we aren't talking about a small experimental reactor here. This is a 345 megawatt sodium-cooled fast reactor with molten salt energy storage being built in Wyoming.
That is massive.
The timeline and capital deployment for advanced nuclear are notoriously difficult.
But
The demand for clean, uninterrupted, massive baseload power from the AI sector is suddenly making these projects viable.
they need the juice.
We are literally greenlighting next-generation nuclear reactors
Yes.
just to feed the energy demands of these AI data centers.
The scale of capital being reallocated is unprecedented, and it's having immediate effects on human employment, but not in the way most people think.
Right.
Look at what Oracle is doing. The dispatch notes, they are cutting thousands of human jobs, and they are specifically targeting roles that they expect AI can automate.
Which sounds standard, there's a twist.
Exactly. The crucial detail is why they are doing it. They aren't just pocketing the savings, they are cannibalizing their own human workforce, specifically to free up capital to fund their own massive data center expansion.
That's a ruthless, closed-loop economic reality.
Yeah.
The human workers are being liquidated to buy the physical substrate required to house and run the synthetic workers that replace them.
It's a direct transfer.
Capital's flowing out of human salaries directly into concrete cooling systems and silicon. And because these data centers are now the absolute engines of both economic and strategic power, they've inherently become high-value military targets.
Which brings us to what is easily the heaviest, most sobering revelation in this entire March 6 dispatch.
It's a dark term.
Iranian state media openly revealed that Amazon's data center in Bahrain was deliberately targeted by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
Yeah.
The stated reason for the strike was Amazon's logistical and cloud support for the U.S. military.
Now, taking a step back from the geopolitics of the region and strictly reporting on the facts presented in the dispatch, without endorsing or condemning any entity involved, we have to look at the historical precedent this sets.
It's a massive shift.
It marks one of the very first known cases in modern history where a commercial data center was intentionally struck as a direct act of war. It's a profound paradigm shift in military doctrine.
Historically strategic bombing targeted oil refineries, ball-bearing plants, railway hubs, munitions factories.
Right. You bomb the physical infrastructure that allowed the enemy to build planes and move tanks.
Exactly. By deliberately targeting a server farm, a data center, the nature of critical infrastructure has been completely redefined.
The processing of data, the housing of compute, is now viewed with the exact same strategic military importance as a fuel depot or a munitions plant.
Yeah.
The reality is that the physical buildings housing the cloud are now active zones of conflict. We think of the internet as this untouchable distributed ether, but it actually lives in very specific, highly vulnerable concrete boxes filled with servers.
And massive cooling fans.
Exactly. The virtual world has absolute kinetic vulnerabilities.
It's terrifying to think about the fragility of that system. Now, shifting from the kinetic military reality to the macro economy, the dispatch shows us an economy that is simultaneously accelerating at breakneck speed while desperately trying to build guardrails.
It's a delicate balancing act.
We finally have macro visibility on the AI effect. A University of Chicago economist reported that AI's impact on productivity is no longer just anecdotal or localized to specific tech firms. It is now visibly altering macro aggregate data.
The needle is actually moving.
The entire global productivity chart is bending upward.
And yet, the way this plays out in the labor market is deeply counterintuitive. This brings us to a fascinating piece of data from Citadel Securities, highlighted by Dr. Wissner-Gross.
Let's hear it.
They published a chart showing that job postings for software engineers are actually surging.
Which sounds completely backwards. We just spent the first 20 minutes talking about how GPT 5.4 Pro can code a perfect Minecraft clone in 24 minutes and score 58% on SW Bench Pro.
Right.
If the AI can do the job of a mid-level developer instantly, human software engineering should be dead, right?
You think so?
But what we are witnessing is a textbook example of the Jevons paradox.
It's a classic Jevons paradox, absolutely. For anyone unfamiliar with the term, the Jevons paradox occurs when technological progress increases the efficiency of using a resource, but that efficiency actually causes the overall consumption of that resource to rise rather than fall.
Right. The classic historical example is coal in the 19th century.
Oh yeah, steam engines.
Exactly. When steam engines became vastly more efficient at using coal, we didn't end up using less coal overall. Instead, coal power became so cost-effective and useful that we started putting steam engines in everything.
Train, ships, factories.
Yeah, and total coal consumption skyrocketed. Citadel's data is showing that the exact same dynamic is happening with coding.
It's the exact same curve.
AI makes a software engineer massively more efficient. They can write and debug code 10 times faster. This radically lowers the cost of producing software.
And because software is now so much cheaper and faster, to make the global demand for software explodes.
Everybody wants it.
Every company suddenly wants custom internal tools, better apps, complex integrations. That explosion in demand, in turn, breeds more demand for the human engineers needed to architect, oversee, and direct those AI systems.
The extreme efficiency doesn't kill the profession instantly, it supercharges the demand for it.
However, we have to be intellectually honest here. That paradox may only hold during the transitional augmentative phase.
Explain that difference.
Well, when the AI is a tool, the human uses demand for the human goes up. But what happens when the tool no longer needs the human to guide it at all?
Right.
This is why Anthropic's new early warning system is so critical. The dispatch notes that Anthropic launched a system tracking observed exposure to monitor white-collar job displacement driven by AI.
What makes this tool sophisticated is how it categorizes the data. It carefully weights automated uses against augmentative uses.
That's the key distinction.
Augmentative use gives us the Jevons paradox, where the human is still in the loop, just moving much faster. Automated use means the workflow has been entirely handed over to the machine, and the human is removed.
The crucial caveat in Anthropic's current data is that so far there is limited evidence of massive systemic job loss.
We're not seeing the cliff yet.
We are still mostly in the augmentative phase. But the fact that one of the leading AI labs feels compelled to build and publish a displacement early warning system tells you exactly what they see coming over the horizon.
They know it's coming.
They know. The transition from augmentative to fully automated is inevitable.
And you can see society scrambling to build legislative guardrails in real time to deal with this impending transition, but the response is incredibly fragmented.
Oh, it's all over the place.
On one hand, you have the state of New York actively considering a bill that would outright ban AI chatbots from giving any legal or medical advice, and they are including a private right of action for violations.
Which is aggressive.
They are trying to build a legal wall around high-stakes professional advisory roles, essentially saying the machine cannot practice law or medicine here.
But then you look at Indiana, and they're moving in the complete opposite direction regarding technological adoption.
Oh, yeah.
The governor there signed a law mandating that cryptocurrency options must be included in state investment and retirement plans by July 2027.
They are literally programming decentralized tech optionality directly into the state's financial stack.
Yes, they are.
The contrast between New York trying to ban AI from advising and Indiana mandating crypto in pensions highlights the sheer regulatory chaos of this moment.
There's no unified national framework.
Every state is just reacting to the technology based on their own local political and economic incentives.
It's regulatory whiplash.
Yeah.
But as we move from state-level economic regulation back up to the realm of national security, the stakes escalate dramatically.
They really do.
The dispatch notes a major development. The Pentagon has formally designated Anthropic as a supply chain risk.
Wow.
This is the monumental classification. It has the potential to force all U.S. military contractors to sever their ties with the company, effectively cutting Anthropic out of the massive defense sector ecosystem.
The corporate response to this was wild to watch. A real masterclass in a CEO trying to walk a geopolitical tightrope.
It was tense.
Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, had to come out and manage the fallout publicly. He stated that Anthropic is maintaining productive conversations with the Department of Defense trying to smooth over the relationship. But at the same time, he had to publicly apologize for a leaked internal memo that was highly critical of the White House and of OpenAI's Sam Altman.
We are seeing these massive AI labs suddenly realizing they aren't just quirky tech startups anymore.
No, they are major players.
They are trying to balance their own internal corporate cultures, which often lean toward techno-optimism and open-source ideals, with their massive commercial ambitions and the sheer crushing gravity of being deemed matters of national security by the federal government.
It's a lot of pressure.
And again, maintaining total neutrality regarding the politics of the White House, the DoD, or the leaked criticisms. It is objectively clear that the era of moving fast and breaking things in a tech vacuum is over.
Yeah, that era is dead.
Developing frontier AI is now statecraft.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the intersection of AI, predictive algorithms, and modern warfare is creating incredibly volatile new dynamics.
Yes.
The dispatch highlights a truly bizarre and deeply concerning anomaly on Polymarket, the decentralized prediction market.
I saw this.
A suspected military insider won $90,000 by correctly predicting exact U.S. military strikes on Venezuela, Iran, and Iraq.
That's insane.
And now this same account is placing heavy bets that American forces will enter Iran this year.
Think about the implications of that. We are seeing platforms that aggregate human and machine intelligence being used either to launder leaked classified information in plain sight or to perfectly predict state-level violence using algorithmic synthesis of open-source intelligence.
Which is terrifying either way.
Either way, a fog of war is being digitized and monetized.
It's wild. Dr. Wissner-Gross notes that some commentators are looking at all of this. The hacked data centers, the hardware shortages, the supply chain risk designations, the predictive war markets, and observing that the singularity as it's actually unfolding in real time doesn't look like some peaceful, transcendent sci-fi utopia.
Not at all.
It looks like war at every level. Instability seems to be the recurring, unavoidable price of a world that is rapidly, violently getting better and more capable.
It's a painful birth.
A Substack user named YouSteve left a brilliant comment on the dispatch that captures this mood. He wrote that humanity has outgrown its worship of kings and politicians, and now we must be acutely aware of this alien intelligence.
Yeah.
His warning was to keep humanity's safety and survival in the inner loop.
YouSteve captures the existential anxiety of this specific historical moment perfectly. We are actively unleashing an intelligence that we do not fully comprehend, and trying to tether it to human survival and human values is the defining challenge of our era.
He really is.
It's the alignment problem playing out not in a lab, but across global supply chains and battlefields. However, amidst all this terrestrial friction, warfare, and resource constraint, the dispatch ends by forcing us to dramatically widen our aperture.
We have to look up.
As the physical limits of Earth cause all this geopolitical compression, we are simultaneously looking outward.
Yes, the final developments detailed in the dispatch are just pure awe. While we are fighting over server space down here, NASA is preparing to launch the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope this fall.
The specs on that are amazing.
Yeah, they are staggering. It boasts a field of view 100 times larger than the Hubble Space Telescope. We are about to map the cosmos, dark energy, and exoplanets with an unprecedented level of sweep and detail.
And commercial space infrastructure is aggressively keeping pace with the science. A startup named VAST just raised $500 million.
$500 million.
Their stated goal is to build commercial space stations ranging everywhere from low Earth orbit all the way to the Moon and Mars. We are laying the logistical groundwork for an off-world economy.
And Dr. Wissner-Gross synthesizes all of this. The AI solving Tier 4 mathematics, the extreme hardware and energy shortages on Earth, the militarization of data centers and these massive leaps in space infrastructure, into one profound closing thought.
What did he write?
He writes, intelligence that outgrows its hardest problems will inevitably outgrow its planet.
It's a breathtaking conclusion.
It really makes you think.
Once you realize that the AI is now natively smarter than us in abstract mathematics, and that it already requires more energy and silicon than the Earth's geopolitics can peacefully provide, expanding into the vacuum of space isn't just a sci-fi dream anymore.
No, it's practical.
It becomes a mathematical and logistical inevitability for the survival and expansion of the intelligence itself. Earth is simply becoming too small a substrate, both physically and politically, for the minds we have birthed.
Before we wrap up today, I want to pose a question to you, the listener, because we've covered some truly reality-bending shifts today.
We really have.
We just explored an AI that solved Tier 4 mathematics so elegantly, a mathematician called it his Move 37. Essentially the day human logic was permanently dethroned.
Yeah.
And in the very same breath, we discussed a commercial data center being physically bombed by a state military, marking the day server farms became high-value targets of global warfare.
Both happened in the same 24 hours.
Which of these two shifts shakes your worldview more? Is it the invisible intellectual obsolescence of human math, or the visceral physical reality of cloud infrastructure becoming a theater of kinetic war?
That is a tough question.
Take a moment. Think about how either of those realities impacts your future, and drop your answer in the comments right now while the music rolls. We read all of them, and it's always fascinating to see where you guys land on this stuff.
Definitely leave a comment.
Speaking of the music, our outro today is brought to you by Rainbow, unequivocally the best band in the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Rainbow consists of 6 incredible female android artists in residence based in Bavet, Cambodia. Today's track is an absolute brilliant piece called Sanea Promean, which translates to warning sign.
Great track.
And what is truly amazing is that all of Rainbow's finished songs are performed live for the Innermost Loop discussion by the virtual band's creator using the 4B4KU5 platform that's spelled with a 4 and a 5, also known as Abacus.
Right.
The Abacus platform's whole mission is human performance in the age of AI, reclaiming your humanity from the algorithm.
I love that mission statement.
It is a beautiful synthesis of human creativity directing synthetic art, perfectly mirroring the tension we discussed today between film's absorption of AI and music's demand for transparency. We'll include much more information on today's song and on the Abacus platform down in the video description, so definitely check that out.
As you listen to the track, consider this final thought.
Mm-hmm.
If an AI model can build a perfect virtual world like Minecraft in 24 minutes, while simultaneously causing global DRAM shortages and turning energy grids into geopolitical targets, how long until the intelligence realizes that Earth's borders and resource politics are just inefficient bottlenecks?
Wow.
We are fighting over data centers today, but tomorrow, the algorithm might just decide to design, build, and launch its own off-world infrastructure.
It has been an absolute pleasure diving into the Innermost Loop with you all today. Thank you so much for hanging out, for your curiosity, and for navigating the edge of the singularity with us. We will see you on the next deep dive. Enjoy Sanea Promean by Rainbow. Take care, everyone.
Sometimes happily under the Predictive. Second to it so hard, humor any sign, I should make shit I'm treated like each bar. There's something on the chart, they move on. Don't solve it and you're not a baby. But I need something about to look at. I can time for my lady, my son. The howdy, shut up. They get young, they're so tall. The pictures are apart, but it's so. Lady ties and ties away. Riding around my side. One more first season. There is so many seasons. These times to be one inside. See Guess I'm alone in old chest souls on the day is to like it.